Chicago Now starts next.
Best traffic day in recent memory out on the expressways.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember there being a single patch of red.
Yeah.
Because today's an unusual day.
Nobody's at work.
Everybody's home.
Yeah.
Everybody, that never happens on a Friday. And did your kids' school get canceled?
It did, yeah.
Did this happen when we were growing up? That's my question. Because both of my children's schools were canceled.
No.
I do not remember this ever happening.
No.
For a cold.
I think it is to protect those who have to take the bus and go to the bus stop, or get dropped off at the bus stop. But no, to your point, yes. No, I don't think this has happened when we were little. And also people staying home from work or not going to the grocery store because it's cold. I don't remember that ever happening either, because I've seen so many posts saying, getting ready for my snuggle day on the couch because they're scared to go outside because it's cold. But like that was never a thing.
I remember getting maybe 1 or 2 snow days. They were glorious, by the way, but they were those 14 inches of snow can't get
out your door.
I never remember this happening for the cold, and I guess I'm having one of those old geezer moments where I'm like, in my day, we went to school and we liked it. So
I get it.
Are we becoming
soft? I say
in 2025.
That's fine with me. We work too hard. You know how I feel about school. I feel like school is too long. It's too much. We should be having 3-day work weeks, all the things. But if you are out today, Godspeed. Stay warm. I hope that construction workers don't have to be outside today. I'm glad to see there's less people out and about, so we can kind of just, take it easy when it is this dangerously cold. I mean, we're talking about wind chills 35 degrees below zero.
And Mike was saying, though, that we're not even approaching record territory, though. These
actual temperatures that level below zero would be records, but you're right.
Right. But correct me if I'm wrong, though. This is traditionally
the coldest time of year.
Like the late January, right? These 5 or 7 days of January. So that kind of tracks that.
Yeah, it does. But every year you're going to hear us complain. I don't care if you grew up in the Midwest. When it's cold outside, you're going to hear us talking about it. And I worry, this is just so silly too. I worry about the wildlife. They know what they're doing. But last night I was concerned about my bluebirds in the backyard.
I was going to ask about your bluebirds.
About my bluebirds. I was like, Grady, should we put some more fuzz out there or something for them to pad their house? And I also was thinking about, because we went to that wildlife rehab facility, they had this big tented area where they would put their owls or their hawks that they rehab. And I thought, how cool would it be if I could think of something, which I don't even know if this would hurt nature rather than help, but if I could come up with a tent where I could heat it in some way. This is where my brain was yesterday. And then the birds and the squirrels or whatever could take...
I think they all get on top of each other and use their own body heat, and then they rotate who's on the
outside.
The
birds?
Yeah.
I don't know. My birds sleep alone. They're loners. There's 5 of them, but they don't form. You would think there's room for more than one.
A little trust tree, a little nest.
Yes, especially if they're siblings, or maybe they're the parents. Can you guys just snuggle together and stay warm? I don't know. Wildlife will be fine, I'm sure. More so, it's the domestic animals that we have to be looking out for. So if you have a pet, I mentioned this yesterday too, that sleeps outside, or maybe a dog that you chain up outside during the day. Today's not the day. Put them in your garage.
Can you get a mic check,
maybe get a dog house with some hay.
We thought about getting enforced.
Yes, you sound great. We'll be with you in a little bit.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
But we allow it, and you can buy a little electronic plug-in thing that gives them just a little bit of heat.
Interesting.
You do end up outside.
Oh, to put it outside,
exactly.
Not an electric jacket for your cat.
Yeah, not an electric jacket. It's just this little plug-in little deal.
I love that. Wait, I need to get that on Amazon.
Do a quick Google. Tons of stuff on Amazon. Now, I don't know if they're bird houses, but they're certainly little cat and dog houses that give them a little relief. That give them a little relief from the from the severe.
Stay warm, drink the hot beverages. That'll make a huge difference. Yesterday I was freezing in my house and I'm like, ooh, I should drink something hot like some tea. Ooh, it warms you to the core. That's the way to go. If you're cold, drink something hot and it'll fix the issue.
Anyway, we hope you are nice and toasty inside.
Settle in.
In the comfort of your climate-controlled living room.
Yep.
And we've got some important topics to get to this hour. The first one, I mean, this is really concerning. We're talking about colorectal cancer. And as I mentioned before we came on, cancer rates and survival rates are really improving pretty much across the board, except for in this one type of cancer, colorectal cancer. So apparently more and more individuals under the age of 50 are being diagnosed. I know that they have tweaked the recommendations when it comes to get screened. Yeah.
It was 50 before, wasn't it? For a colonoscopy?
It was 50. They dropped it to 40.
40.
I've had two.
Good for you.
I've had two, just because I've had some GI.
Yeah.
We share on this show. We share. Okay. We're a family.
We're all human.
But yeah, so I had to go in early for that. This is years ago. But then once I kind of caught up, the standard one. But yeah.
Can you speak? Is the doctor here yet, or we have some time to chat?
Do we have time to do? Are we
holding up the doctor?
Yeah, holding.
Okay,
Rush University.
Before we talk to her, really quick, I just want you to speak to your experience of getting these colonoscopies,
Sure.
because I think it's a scary thing to think of doing. So was it bad for you?
Not bad at all.
What was it like?
You'll hear this from pretty much most people who have done the screening, but the prep is way worse than the actual thing.
You have to drink a lot of
And the
liquid.
prep isn't that bad. It's one of those things where for 24 hours, you're drinking a solution that makes sure that you're ready to go for the screening itself, making sure that pipes are clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the prep.
Day off work.
You got to take off the day before.
Okay.
And you get through the solution. It comes in either a powder or a kind of a gallon thing. Tastes a little. It doesn't taste amazing. You get sick of it toward the end of the day. But I'm telling you, you've never been cleaner.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Never been cleaner.
Yeah.
And then you go in, and it's a non-event. I mean, with any luck, it's a non-event, right? You go in, they put you under general anesthesia. You wake up and you go on your way.
You don't feel
exactly the whole thing. I
up,
remember being in and out in 3 hours.
No way.
Yeah, in and out in 3 hours.
Yeah, so they
and
knock
then
you out cold
here's
for this,
here's the benefit. Yeah, you're out cold.
Okay.
You're out cold. It's general anesthesia. And here's the best part of the experience. Presuming that you test negative, you don't have any, they do screen for things like polyps and of course cancer. But the first meal back is really nice.
Is it?
What you do, my advice to anyone who's doing the colonoscopy, figure out ahead of time, first of all, who's picking you up from the hospital and where you are going, what restaurant you're going to go to.
Because you're hungry?
Because you're hungry. You've only drank liquid for like the 24 hours before that, so you're ready to
bow down.
Yeah, exactly. Like on an Italian beef or something amazing.
Yeah.
A steak burrito.
Then you just take it easy the next day?
Yeah, you don't even need to. There's no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, rock and roll.
We got more questions. We're gonna.
That's been my experience.
Yeah.
You're not even 40 yet. Have they changed? We'll ask Selena Lee. We're roping in Dr. Selena Lee with Rush University Medical Center to talk about this. Dr. Lee, thank you for being here. I just kind of ran folks through my own colonoscopy experiences. Have they changed the recommendations for women as well?
Morning. It's so great to be here, and thank you for having me. They have changed the recommendations across the board for all persons. The guidelines will recommend that every person gets screened at the age of 45. So
Okay.
that's lower than it was before when it was 50.
Right.
Special circumstances, perhaps in your case, might bring that age lower. If you have a family history, or if you have symptoms or certain syndromes lurking behind, or chronic medical conditions. But for every healthy person, regardless of how well you feel, the current guidelines recommend that that screening starts at the age of 45.
Okay, so talking about symptoms, what should we be looking out for that might be abnormal?
That's a great question. And exactly as you've described, any sudden change in bowel habits, certainly rectal bleeding, abdominal pain that's unexplained, loss of weight that's unexplained, anemia. Those are all very common symptoms that bring people through our doors. But it's also really important to remember that the most common symptom of an early stage colorectal cancer is nothing at all, which is why we screen everyone over the age of 45, regardless of how you feel.
That is so scary that the most common symptom is no symptom at all. Let's dive into the why here, what we know about the why. This is so concerning because I feel like just maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, we reported that the American Cancer Society is reporting that like survivability for most forms of cancer is actually improving. Most patients are living beyond 5 years. However, colorectal seems to be the exception here. They're on the rise. What can you say about what is behind this?
So the bottom line is we don't know, and I think everyone would agree with that. We don't truly know. There's a lot of speculation from dietary changes, ultra-processed foods, a rise in eating out, sedentary lifestyles, all of those factors in the age group that's at highest risk when we were young do probably play a large part. It's also important to remember that while we do see this rise, and it is true, since 1998, and this study that the Washington Post had referenced, since 1998 to 2023, we see an annual increase of death from colorectal cancer in this age group below the age of 50 of 1% per year of an increase, whereas all the other top 5 cancers we see a decrease. And that's what was concerning. But it's also important to recognize that the absolute numbers are still very low. And while we see that increase, we also know that the decrease in cancer across the board for colorectal cancer includes all of age groups. And in this particular cohort, we really haven't seen the effect of what screening can do to save lives. Since the U.S. PSTF had recommended colorectal cancer screening to be lowered at the age of 45. That was only in 2021. So we're seeing data that goes to 2023. And so the effect of screening protocols and the effect of what that translates into as far as saving lives is yet to be fleshed out. And I think that we're going to see improvements as people in this earlier age group start engaging in screening practices.
Okay, so let's talk more about that screening. So Anthony gave us his experience, but I can say from someone who has never had a colonoscopy, I could imagine the nerves going into a colonoscopy. I will be Googling all of the things that can go wrong with a colonoscopy. Can you speak to that? Do things accidents happen, obviously, but how common is it that things could go wrong during the procedure?
Super uncommon. And you raise a great point. The number one thing, the most helpful thing that I tell my patients is please refrain from searching online just broadly, because there's so much information out there, and that information can be very nuanced, especially when it comes to medical care. The most important thing when you're headed into a colonoscopy, aside from considering the risks, is also considering what are the benefits that you're going to get out of this procedure. And whenever we prescribe a medication, recommend a procedure, do any kind of surgery, your doctor should always be weighing the rationale for why we're doing it, weighing the risks and the benefits. And in anyone over the age of 45, we as a medical community have agreed that the benefits definitely outweigh the risk, because it gives us an opportunity to catch a cancer when it's early, when we can offer better treatment and cure. We can also, even with the colonoscopy as its mode of screening, prevent a cancer from happening, when we can find precancerous lesions, take them out before they even have a chance to turn into cancer.
Dr. Lee, can you speak about what they actually, like how it works and what they're actually looking for? It's like there's a camera on the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so
right.
What exactly are they looking for? How long does it take? And I know that isn't there an instrument on some of them that can actually clip off like little polyps if you've got like polyps on the inside of your colon?
Absolutely, it's a really cool procedure. I'm actually in between procedures right now, and it's super fun. It's the best part of my day. Long scope with a camera at the end of it. That's our main tool. It's called colonoscope. We drive it into the colon and look all the way around. Through the long scope, there is a channel that we use as our working channel, so we can pass instruments through that channel. So if we see a polyp, and a polyp is just a bump in the road or growth of tissue, we're looking for these adenomatous polyps, which are considered precancerous or premalignant. We can take it out with either a biopsy forceps or a snare, which is like a lasso. We can, if there's any bleeding for a different kind of procedure, we can clip it. We can burn the source of bleeding. We can even put some hemostatic or coagulation spray on it. There's a lot of things that we can do through that little channel in the colonoscope. What we're looking for primarily when we do a colonoscopy for screening is a colorectal cancer. We hope to not find anything, but the reality is it is a very common cancer, and if we can find it early, we can offer better treatment and even cure. Secondarily, what we can do when we screen with a colonoscopy that's unique to screening for many other cancers is we can potentially prevent a cancer from happening. And that's because we know what the precancerous lesions are. Those are the adenomatous types of polyps. If we find these adenomatous types of polyps, we can resect it and therefore even prevent a cancer from ever happening.
It's amazing. It's amazing. What does it actually look like? Like, I've seen pictures online of what a melanoma looks like on your skin. Is it like that black splotchiness that you guys are looking for with that camera, or?
No, it's entirely different. So the classic type of polyp it looks like a grape, like a sac. It can hang from what we call a stalk, a pedunculated polyp, and we can take that out with a lasso, burn through it. We can clip up anything that's bleeding. There are smaller polyps that are just like little bumps in the road, essentially, and we can take it out with a big forceps that just essentially takes a big biopsy and take it out. Because of the way that the colon is innervated, people don't feel it when we're doing these procedures within the colon.
Okay.
And then there's a secondary kind of polyp that is becoming more and more prevalent. That's a very flat kind of polyp, and we oftentimes will lift it up by injecting the polyp, lifting it up so it's a bleb, and then we will resect it with that same lasso.
So the cancer does show up as an item, for lack of a better term, instead of just the discoloration.
It's obvious. Right,
Okay.
we can see it.
So talking to the younger folks out there, if there's somebody who's listening who hasn't seen any difference in their stool, they don't have a family history of cancer, what would you say to those people who think there's no way that cancer is going to touch me because I would be the first one? It's just not happening.
Well, if they are over the age of 45, they still would be someone that we would recommend screening for. Whether that benchmark falls lower than 45 is still unclear. There isn't any magical cutoff. We know that there's more cancer when you're 50, there's more cancer when you're 55. Comparing 40 to 45, it's a stepwise increase. But if there's any doubt in this young person's mind as far as what their risks of developing cancer over the course of their lifetime is, it's never wrong to talk to their doctor. There are a lot of different factors that they may not even be thinking about. They may not have a family history of colon cancer, but they may have a family member that's a first-degree relative with lots and lots of polyps, and perhaps it's an undiagnosed syndrome that would move the benchmark of when they get screened earlier. So always have a conversation with your physician. We welcome it. We thrive on it. We love to talk to people about their health.
Dr. Lee, in terms of mortality here, we know that certain kinds of cancer are very treatable. You know, testicular cancer, thyroid cancer come to mind. Pancreatic cancer on the other end of the spectrum, that's always can be very, very dangerous and a lot of times deadly. Where does colorectal cancer fall on the spectrum there?
Super treatable, because colorectal cancer is one of the cancers for which we have effective screening tools, and we additionally have effective screening tools to look for the precancerous lesions. So stage by stage, every cancer is treatable. The problem with something like pancreatic cancer is that we usually find it when it's a very late stage, because there isn't a widespread screening program for pancreatic cancer. It's not the same for colorectal cancer. We've seen that the mortality from colorectal cancer decline year by year, decade by decade since we've started screening. And since Medicare had approved colonoscopy for all its beneficiaries in 2001, we've seen a tripling of use of screening, and we've seen the correlate decrease in death. So we know that it works. And so when we can find it in an early stage, let's say it's a local stage, that's the earliest stage, the survival rate over 5 years is over 90%. Compare that with when we find it at a late stage, regardless of whether you're a man, woman, your ethnic descent, the survival rate is less than 15%. So it really all depends on how early we can find that cancer, which is why we're encouraging everyone over the age of 45 to get screened, regardless of how well you feel.
Okay, so I think we have time for maybe one more question. What about loved ones who are stubborn? They don't go to the doctor, they don't get checkups. And what would you say to those people who are trying to encourage their loved ones, maybe their dad, to go get a colonoscopy? Can you speak to those people, maybe tell them how simple it is and it's not a big deal?
Absolutely. And to your point, your personal experience is the experience that most of my patients have. A lot of them are very nervous getting through the door. Once they're through the door, they will say the worst part is absolutely the prep. After that, it is 3 hours at most, and they don't remember anything. And the best thing I encounter is when I see a patient 3 or 5 years or 10 years later and they don't remember me, because my job is to make it as unmemorable as possible. They apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. But no, I mean, if you don't remember me, my job is done. So for the patients that really are struggling with getting through the door, I will say that I will encourage them just to even have a conversation. The vast majority of people I talked to that really didn't want to have a colonoscopy just didn't know. They didn't know that the prep is not as bad as the myths would tell you it is, because it has gotten much better, even the prep. The procedure, if you don't want to feel anything, you don't have to feel anything. There's some people who actually are afraid of anesthesia. They don't want to be knocked out. And I do have a minority of patients who insist on being awake, and they absolutely know they can do it, and they do it great. We tell stories, we tell jokes, we play music, they're wide awake. So we can do it so many different ways to make people feel comfortable. Some people feel more comfortable with a male physician, some people feel more comfortable with a female physician. We can absolutely accommodate and overcome almost every barrier that people bring to our table as far as why they can't get a colonoscopy. But at the end of the day, if it's absolutely a no-go for whatever reason, they still don't want to go through a procedure, there are other options. So there are kits that test your stool for microscopic evidence of blood. There are kits that test the stool for both blood and for cancerous DNA. Those are absolutely appropriate tools for colorectal cancer screening. And we always say that the best test, even though the traditional gold standard is colonoscopy, the best test is the test that gets done.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I know you have another procedure to get to, Dr. Lee. One more question, though. Once you do have it at 45, how many years are we talking need to elapse before you should go and get rechecked again?
Sure. So if you don't have a family history of colorectal cancer, then the interval is really dependent on what we find in your colon. So it's a personal risk. If I find absolutely no polyps, like precancerous lesions, if the preparation is really clean and the views are great, then you don't have to come back for 10 years.
Oh.
And then depending on how many polyps we find, depending on the size, the number, then we would recommend coming back in 7 years, perhaps, or 3 years, or 5 years. It is very individual. So the interval is dependent on what we find at that index colonoscopy, as long as there is no family history or chronic illnesses that's underlying.
Makes sense.
So informative. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you. Really appreciate it and everything you do, all the information. Thank you. Selena Lee with Rush University Medical Center. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I love that she gave us options. Maybe if you do have like a family member or a loved one or a
squeamish people
friend,
out there.
yeah, you can get an at-home kit perhaps.
She's right. The best test is the one that gets done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then, she alluded to the fact that it's largely unknown what is causing this. Is it the ultra-processed food? We're going to kind of speak on a semi-related?
Yeah.
No? After this quick break,
some things.
yeah, we're going to be talking about sustainable food, all right? So institutional kitchens, can be a challenge when you're cooking at scale, like at a mass scale, to do so in a way that is from scratch, but is better health-wise, we're told. And this may kind of be the answer, the real answer to this issue that we're talking about. We're going to be speaking with a man coming up who's on a mission to help steer kitchens away from all that processed food. And we're going to interview him live when we come back after this.
Our student success.
Welcome back. It can be a challenge for institutional kitchens to sustainably cook from scratch, okay? Even your home kitchen, it's hard. It's hard. Stuff goes bad. It's expensive. But we're joined this morning by Greg Christian, who's on a mission to steer kitchens away from processed food, and he's here to tell us more about it. So you started Chicago's Conscious Caterer. How has your career evolved into creating a Conscious Caterer program?
Well, I started off in like the fancy food business, went to the CIA in New York.
What?
The Culinary Institute of America.
There you go.
Yeah. Wait,
He's a spy in his spare time,
I would love to be a spy.
Okay.
Those are the movies I watched. And, just kind of chased, flavor and glamour and fame in high-end restaurants.
Yeah, sure.
New York City and Chicago.
Sure.
And then my second kid, Breatha is her name. She was a sick kid, bad asthma, real bad asthma, emergency room all the time.
No way.
Hey.
And the Western medicine wasn't working. It wasn't enough. So my wife at the time said, we have to try also alternative medicine and all organic food. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did, because we were scared because the intensive care started with her.
Yeah.
And then, it wasn't a double-blind study, but no more hospital.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just like...
Once you made the move to organic.
Yeah, and yeah, once we made the move to organic. And so, and my oldest daughter, Dej, would come home from school. This is, 25 years ago, or maybe a little less, and say, Dad, you wouldn't believe what the other kids eat in school. And at the time, I didn't care. My kids were good, right? And I was still chasing glamour and fame and all that. Mm-hmm. And then it hit me one day, some message came to me, I do care about what all kids eat. So these ideas came, Organic School Project was born, a non-for-profit 20 years ago. And in my high-end cooking, one of my customers was Mayor Daley, who's a great man to me. And I saw him all the time because I did him and Maggie's parties.
Wow.
And I asked Mayor Daley if he would open up the doors to Chicago Public Schools to let us go in and try to change the way we feed kids. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know what we were doing 20 years ago, but we went in. We charged in, we raised money, and after a couple years, got a little smarter. And now 20 years later, what we do is we go into schools, mostly public schools, right? We're in some jails and hospitals and older people homes, and we work with the kitchen teams to learn how to cook. They don't know how to cook anymore in general because we've been serving processed food for 20 years all over the country in the biggest kitchens mostly.
Right.
So there's an immunity to change. They're afraid in general. They don't have the tools in general. So we train them up to cook fresh food. They pick the menus. And then we introduce local food. And we assert that the money to buy better food and the time to cook it is in the system. And the people that work in the system can't see it. They're just not trained. We've done this all over North America. And we've done a lot of kitchens all over. So we're very practiced at it. And then I kind of got a little tired of flying a lot all over. And now we're temporarily just focused on Illinois. And we're in 17 kitchens all over the state. And teaching people how to cook, teaching people how to buy local. Really, the dream is that kids grow up, that we're helping parents with their kids, that their kids leave school craving nutrient-dense food. And the cooks are empowered to cook.
So what are like the main swaps that you've seen, especially in schools? Because you're talking a lot about children. What, like the pizza,
They make fresh pizza.
They make the pizza.
They make the pizza.
In the schools?
And they make the sauce.
Really?
Yeah, and chicken fingers, right?
Very impressive. Instead of buying the packaged, frozen Purdue chicken fingers, they're actually using raw ingredients.
Yeah, first they start with like a raw chicken breast from the broadliner, their company they buy chicken breast from, and they cut it in 3-step breading. And in schools, public schools, you're not allowed to deep fry anymore, so they bake them. And then we start to bring in the local chicken. Once the kitchen can cook and they're efficient and not wasteful. These big kitchens are often pretty wasteful. So the money to buy more expensive food is in the waste.
Is there concern with cooking the food like that from scratch in schools? Maybe contamination. Maybe the chicken's not cooked all the way through. You know, there's safety with, in a way, safety but not safety with frozen food because you know that it's fully cooked, and when you feed it to the children, it's not going to make them sick.
Yeah, that's how the food manufacturers that currently run these kitchens
want you to think.
That's what they want you to think. And they're partially right. Like dealing with raw chicken, like you do at your house sometimes, you have to think a little more and be a little more careful and wash your hands more and all that, and make sure it's cooked to to 165 or whatever the numbers are for cooking raw protein. So that's a thing. And so we train them up. We teach them because they're afraid of that. After 20 years of no raw protein, right? But if a kid can leave school craving nutrient-dense food, and that's, the parents have to help, hopefully, and then we can also rebuild local food systems because, like in Illinois, we bring in 98% of our food that people eat. So 2% of the food that we eat in our houses in the state come from Illinois.
Wow.
The rest comes from far away.
Yeah.
And this system makes sense to a lot of really smart people. That's why the system's like it is. But it doesn't make sense to me, and maybe I'm just not as smart as them, but to me, this food system, this global food system that works currently, you go to the store, everything's there, but it's really built on the back of overuse of water and oil, which I know we still have plenty of, water and oil. But, in a few hundred years, I think we're going to be growing food, and hopefully less, that's a little closer by.
I love that. Maybe we
would
can
hope.
create with
You would hope.
the infrastructure to be able to grow it indoors or something.
Yeah, exactly. The 17 locations that you are in currently in Illinois, give us an idea of, are they mostly schools? Are they prisons? Are they, retirement homes? Or
Yeah, there's one retirement home in Springfield, Illinois currently, and we've done others in other states. And we're in the juvenile detention center.
Okay.
And
are they actually cooking?
Juvenile detention center.
The detainees? Or is it the staff there?
The staff.
Because I know that they were doing I did a wonderful story, this is years back, at the Cook County Jail.
Oh.
Where they started doing a pizza. They brought in a pizza oven.
Yes.
And the inmates, remember this?
Yes.
It was really...
They're
It was
still
really
doing
cool.
that.
It's a really cool
Cool.
thing. Sheriff Dart launched it, and the pizza was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like I went in there, I got to go and try the pizza. It was a fun
Nice.
story. But it's a great model.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're doing it. It's slow. These are big kitchens, you know, but they used to cook. I mean, at Cook County Jail, they cooked 3 square meals a day from scratch back in the day. So they can do it. It's just going to take it takes a while to move these bigger kitchens.
Yeah.
We're in public schools. We're in mostly central and south Illinois. We're in Murfreesboro and Cobden. These are small towns in the way south. We're in a lot of schools around Springfield. Lincoln School, that's the first Illinois school in Lincoln, Illinois. They started with 5 kitchens, and then the food is so good and so fresh that 4 other schools called them and said, "Can you make our food too?"
Cool.
So my question to you is, maybe there's a parent or maybe somebody who works at a school that's listening to this right now, especially because we have e-learning today. Maybe there's a lot more educators watching. If there's a school that's interested, what would you say as far as how they would go about getting your company to help them make this healthy food, first of all? And second of all, which is on everybody's mind all the time, budget. Is it more
Yeah, I was
expensive
curious about that.
than the program that they have going on right now?
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive. So I just started a non-for-profit, the Sustainable Food Institute of America. and my goal is to get that funded so we can give it away.
Oh.
Because we have taken the time during COVID where we couldn't go into a kitchen, and we reduced everything we do to video. So we have the whole program in like 100 videos. And so we're ready to scale. We're in 17 kitchens now. We're ready to do 100. So a parent can go to the website, and we would start with an assessment, and tell them, here, it's like blood work, like the doctor you just talked to. Here's the blood work. Are you good or not?
Yeah.
And then it costs money to hire us currently, and I'm trying to get it to free.
All right,
Okay.
let's talk about the ecosystem to get something like that done. I know RFK Jr. has been making headlines.
I would love a meeting with him.
Get rid of that red dye number 5 or whatever. But he's also made some very controversial decisions in his role as secretary. In terms of funding, realistic to scale this, get it funded, get this thing rolled out to more than 17. What's your take on that? Is it going to be possible in this ecosystem?
You know, I started it because I think it's possible, and I can't predict the future. You know, the dream is, a couple of whales write me a check for $1 million each. I staff up, and we give it away to public institutions, literally, 50 schools at a time.
So speaking of the schools,
So
do you just
great.
go in, you look at their lunch menu for the week or for the month, and then do you just adjust each item to keep it the same but healthier?
Yeah, we start with understanding how much money they spend on their food and how much every dish costs.
Oh.
And what their menu is and how many staff they have and what the kitchen is capable of. So we look at a lot.
Okay.
Then we start with asking the cooks and the kids, what do you want on the menu? And so then we talk to the kids. They're the customer. And we talk to the cooks. What do you want to make for your community? We're not from here, right? I did a bunch of work in Hawaii. I'm not from Hawaii. What do you guys eat?
Yes.
Let's make that.
Right.
So we start with the low-hanging fruit. What do they like? Chicken fingers, pizza,
French fries.
French fries. They like French toast sticks. Well, let's make
Yeah.
French toast.
Yeah.
So we start with recognizable food. We don't open with veganism or kale salads. We want to get there.
Fish, eggs, caviar.
Yeah, you base
don't-
it on what they're already eating.
But then after work, we go for the fish eggs.
There
Sure,
you go.
sure.
This
I love
is
that.
great. This is great. Greg, thank you so much for being in and telling us about Chicago's Conscious Caterer. We're out of time, but where can folks find out more about this?
SustainableFoodInstitute.org.
Okay. SustainableFoodInstitute.org.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
too.
on your mission.
Thank you.
I loved hearing about it. That's really great.
All right.
Really, really great. Thank you so much, Greg. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, AI, doesn't it feel like it's got its...
It's
maybe you could
spooky.
use AI somehow to...
My
Probably
people are
could.
using AI. It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got its tentacles basically in everything. So how do we maintain our humanity during this trend? Okay, you're gonna want to stick around for that. We all want to maintain our humanity, right?
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this
Hold
climate.
on tight, everybody.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Sunday, the
Welcome back, 1041. So artificial intelligence, it's kind of a spooky thing, okay? It's growing on social media. You can't really tell what's real, what's fake anymore. So we got to keep the line here between humanity and AI. So author Jeff Birmingham is joining us this morning over Zoom to talk about his new book that takes a deeper dive into how we can live alongside technology with not meshing too much amongst it. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, Jeff.
Yes, Caitlin, Anthony, it's great to be with you today.
Okay, so what is your experience with AI? What are your main concerns with AI?
Yeah, my background is in venture capital. I'm an entrepreneur here in Utah, built several large companies, actually ran for governor in the state of Utah in 2020.
Wow.
Lost during the pandemic, and then went deep into AI, and especially the existential questions. And I think the main challenge for us here is that as our machines become more and more intelligent, we as humans must become more wise.
Oh, you'd think it'd be the opposite, you know, like
We can take a step back.
we can be dumber now because AI is smarter. That's not your theory, though.
Well, intelligence is being commoditized, right? Like each of us have the smartest tutor, you know, a PhD level assistant in our pockets through AI. So, but there's a difference between intelligence and wisdom. I mean, human wisdom comes from being embodied. AI doesn't have a body. It comes from feeling loss and grief and pain. That's something that AI hasn't felt, and it's found in real human connection and relationship. That is the real driver of transformation and evolution. So we need to lean into that wisdom in the era of intelligent machines.
Okay, let's talk about that book behind you. I love the title. It's called The Last Book Written by a Human. I can't read from here, the subhead, Becoming Wise in the Age of AI. I love the cover as well. All right, so you wrote this yourself without the help of AI. Give us a little bit of a taste about what's in between those covers there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was painstaking to write this, and it's so human. it's so vulnerable. It was very transformational for me. I will say, though, that the foreword is written by ChatGPT. And it talks about how AI is a cosmic mirror to humanity. It's just a reflection of who we are, where we're at. And a reflection, as you guys know, can be a powerful thing. It gives us an opportunity to pivot and change. It gives us an opportunity to see where we are at and where we can make changes to ensure that AI is focused on human flourishing and not human division. So the book kind of follows a roadmap like that. It's the bull case for AI. It's coming. I don't think it makes sense to bury our heads in the sand, pretend like it's not happening, but it provides a roadmap for how humans can flourish in the age of AI.
I know we got to wrap it up here soon, but one last question. AI, we've mentioned off the top how it's kind of a spooky thing. In your research about AI, is there anything that stands out to you that we should be keeping an eye on, like AI could get out of hand, out of control, and make it more difficult to keep our humanity?
Absolutely. I mean, this is not a technological problem. This is, if AI is a mirror, it's a problem about humanity. So I encourage us to return to stillness. We can't outsource our thinking to AI. We can use it as a companion and something that helps us in business be more efficient and effective, et cetera, et cetera. But it should be used as a bridge to human connection and wisdom. So I think the concern is that there is a portion of the human population that is increasingly getting, I'll say, quote unquote, lost in the machine. And that's something that we need to be aware of, especially with our children, right? And in order to do that, I'm a parent. I have 4 children. We have to model good behavior with our digital devices, with AI. And we need to make sure that we don't become addicted to these things that are meant to keep our attention and meant to take our time.
This is really good food for thought. All right. Once again, the book is called The Last Book, written by a human, and we thank author Jeff Birmingham for joining us on this frigid, cold Friday here in Chicago. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to be with 2 humans.
Yes, indeed. This is human to human, you know, even though it's via Zoom.
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then this is so cool. You know, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this kind of thing, live performance.
Yes.
We have a reimagined version of The Tempest by Mr. Bill Shakespeare. This is cool. This is a sci-fi retelling of the classic Shakespearean drama, and we are going to be speaking with the writer and director and one of the performers right here in studio. She plays the title character, which there's a little gender flip when it comes to the title character here. So stay with us. We'll be back with the reimagined sci-fi retelling of The Tempest when we come back.
Are you new to Medicare?
Welcome back. So the works of Shakespeare has been reimagined so many times, but not like this. Prospera, I pronounced that correctly, right?
You
Prospera.
did.
It's a sci-fi retelling of his The Tempest, and we're hearing more about the show with Tiffany Keene Schaefer. She's the director and writer of Prospera, and Stacy Lind, who's the performer of the title character, Prospera. So thank you for being here this morning.
Absolutely.
So first and foremost, tell us about The Tempest and what that story is about.
Sure. So it's about exile, and it's about vengeance, and then it's also a little bit about redemption. Prospera is an exiled character from her society. For us, it's a planet. She's exiled from her planet and goes to Halcera 3, which is a Sycoraxian mining colony. And, you know, has this revenge story, essentially, and tries to bring the people who exiled her to justice.
Before we talk to Stacy here, when I think about like reimagined Shakespeare, the first thing that comes to mind is West Side Story. All right, so this was Romeo and Juliet, but it was just like reimagined in whatever 1950s New York or something like that. Tell us how that plot that you just ran us through the basics of kind of correlates with the original Shakespearean Tempest.
Sure. So the original Tempest is Italy, and Prospero is the exiled Duke of Milan. That has been reimagined to Prospera, and she was on the starship Milan. So exiled from her crew onto a planet instead of an island. In the original Tempest.
I love this.
It's an
I love
island.
this.
Stacy, I gotta know. Your outfit is awesome, by the way. Thank you for coming all suited up. Let's talk about your journey in acting and how you ended up getting this role.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm trained in both Shakespeare and theater. And I got this role because I auditioned for it. I'm a big sci-fi nerd. The cast the nerd flags fly high in the cast. And I love the idea of a mishmash of, you know, we always reimagine Shakespeare, right, when we're doing. He's been around for 400 years, and we keep doing it in different ways. So I love the idea of taking that story and then putting a sci-fi twist on it. So yeah, I auditioned, and here we are.
This is also kind of a gender-bending twist as well. Can we get each of your thoughts on what happens to the play, or the story itself, this Shakespearean drama, when the title character goes from being this, you said Archbishop of Milan, or Duke of Milan?
The Duke,
yes. Not the
yes.
Archbishop, what am I thinking? The Duke of Milan to now female lead. What is the dynamic there, and why did you make that move?
I think that a lot of the show is also, and the play is also based on the relationship that Prospero has with their child Miranda. And making that a maternal connection really brings up a lot of warmth in the play, and then also kind of gender dynamics of preparing your daughter for societal norms of what femininity should look like, and getting ready to go back in society. So that was really interesting to explore for me.
Yeah, I think, you know, the sort of arc is the same, whether it's male or female. You go from revenge to redemption, and something happens with your child. But to make Prospera a woman is in the, you know, in the far future is a different feel than a man in the 17th century who's essentially sees his daughter as property and makes an alliance via marriage. If Prospera is doing the same thing in the far future, what does that say about kind of where we've come and how that works? Yeah.
So we're seeing some images here from the play.
Cool.
Very beautiful.
Really cool images.
Thank you.
What would you say to someone who maybe is curious if they'd be interested in coming, and also maybe their kids would be interested? Is there an age that you would recommend for people to come to watch your show?
I think that every child is different, so as a parent, you kind of know. I mean, we've definitely had kids that were, you know, around 9 come and really enjoy the show.
Great.
I would say this really works for anyone who has a sci-fi soul. Anyone who really loves Shakespeare, I think, will also get a lot of joy out of seeing an adaptation that kind of flips some of the things on its head. So yeah, I think that I think it's true to both.
Yeah, and if you're scared off by like heightened language or anything, it's not Shakespeare, it's a new play.
Yeah.
So it's really accessible on that front too.
Good.
Would you be willing
to
give us a little? I don't know if there's any like marquee monologue like from Hamlet, what to be or not to be. But is there a section of dialogue that might?
I will give you one
Okay,
line
okay.
just because it's like the perfect sci-fi trope line, which makes me giggle inside every time I say it, which is there's a crisis, and so Prospero says, I could compensate by siphoning power from life support, but the radiation shielding will fail. Which is like the perfect like binary choice that you only make in sci-fi, right? You either have to irradiate yourself or continue with your scientific project. There are no other options. It's the kind of thing that sci-fi nerds find sort of delicious.
Yes,
I love
indeed.
that.
Yes, that definitely doesn't sound like Shakespearean vocabulary.
It's not Shakespearean.
And yet it kind of does. Which is kind.
Heightened language, I think, for both. But I definitely would say that, yeah, if the high language scares you of Shakespeare, this is definitely a modern retelling.
Can you speak to the creation of this play, the writing of it? Was this a long project for you? Was it over years? Or
We are going to laugh.
We are going to laugh. So, you know, I love art in the face of adversity. So we actually lost our original play that we were going to do, and this concept has always been in my mind, but when I actually sat down and wrote it, it was like around a week.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, well, because we were going to do a show and that fell through, and then we didn't have anything that we were like that was speaking to us, and then I was like, I had this idea, and then it was just like I hunkered down, and it was just time. And it came out, and honestly, I'm just so proud, and it's resonating with so many people. We've had a lot of women come and say that it's just like a great introspection in women in leadership, because a lot of women feel like exiled a lot of the time when they rise to power. So like it's been just so fulfilling. It was a quick process. It was a storm.
Yes.
We're just bringing it back for sure, but a beautiful
Good for you.
a beautiful little wormhole.
This is so cool.
Wow.
Okay, so tell us where folks can check it out. This is on the north side.
Yes.
Southport Corridor here. Give us all the specifics. People want to get tickets, check it out, and how long is the run? What's the window to check it out?
Yeah, we're running for another 3 weeks. We close on February 8th, but you can check us out at otherworldtheater.org and get your tickets. We'll be happy to have you.
Wonderful. So
so
fun.
much, Tiffany
with
and
this weather
Prospero.
outside, too. Anything to do
Thank you so much.
indoors. Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I will say it kind of feels like a sci-fi planet out there.
Doesn't
I
it? It looks
know.
like it, too.
It's all steamy.
Can your character make it so
Make
it's
a little-
warm? Like wave the wand and make it warmer here?
We'll work on that.
Yeah, work. Thank you guys so much. We got another hour of Chicago Now. We're right after this short break, so stay with us and hope you're having a great Friday.
Saturday, it's a 5.
Welcome to the 11 o'clock hour of Chicago Now.
Chicago Now? I'm
You know
here.
what? I like how we're on the same wavelength, Jake Hamilton. We're both wearing kind of this brown Swedish jacket.
You know, and so often whenever that happens, whenever two people on the air, on the show, start looking the same, I feel like people always say, oh, did you guys call and text each? It really is just a
right
coincidence whenever it happens. You know, you'll be on the desk and everyone's going to wear blue or everyone's wearing red or whatever the case may be. But yeah, this is a very specific coincidence to be.
Truthfully, you know, you and I were both out and doing segments this morning, live segments. I was at Disney on Ice.
Yes.
Guess who I saw?
Who?
I gave a kiss on the cheek too.
Who?
Minnie Mouse.
Wow.
Minnie Mouse.
Journalism.
Yes.
It's so glam.
Everyone needs to know about Disney on Ice presents Jump In.
Yes, yeah. They were. I mean, it was a great live. I could hear it. I didn't get to see it.
I'm doing the work.
You're doing the Lord's work.
Where were you at?
I was out in Schaumburg at the Schaumburg Convention Center. It's the Chicagoland Fishing Expo happening out there. Listen, I'm going to be honest. It was a great way to great time. I was fishing on the air. Didn't catch a thing. But my goal today was to just be inside. So I was very adamant about looking for any story, any live shot that would keep me inside, because I did not want to end up being one of those reporters that's outside telling people not to go outside. That was my #1 goal for the day, and I can officially say now, mission accomplished.
Well done, Jake.
Yeah,
and you
that's
were
really
inside. That's
yeah. And you know, they set me up. I loved everybody out there at the Fishing Expo, but I was getting ready for this live shot where they were gonna have me fish live on the air, and in the commercial break, they swore to me that I was gonna catch. They said, "Listen, the fish are hungry. This lure isn't easy." They're like, "It's just gonna be really easy."
It's really just doing the movement.
And so, before leading into this hit, I'm kind of being a jerk about it, like talking back to the anchors and really hyping up my abilities as a fisherman. Caught nothing.
Jake.
On the air. And our producer, David, let the segment go long to give me more time.
Jake.
And you could see the fish just, I mean, it was like the fish were laughing. That's
what I like to call Jake Hamilton bounce.
It really.
That's a tough bounce.
I overly sold my abilities as a fisherman.
Of course.
Because I had been promised that they were going to bite.
Jake Hamilton.
I was setting myself up.
I'm so sorry. Can I be truthfully honest to you and our peanut gallery behind the scenes? I forgot my cards, so I don't have anything in my hands. Yeah.
So here's what's going to happen.
Taking the, let's take the bean camera. Can we comment on what's happening
how cold it looks
while I go get those cards? Thank you very much, everyone. There is people out there. Can you believe that?
I mean, listen, if you're visiting the beautiful city of Chicago, this is part of the bed. Listen, it's cold. As long as they're bundled up and they're not out there for an extended period of time, but it's just, you know, it's a misleading live picture, because I feel like you can't really tell from that image just how cold the city is right now.
And it's funny because coming back into the city, back to the Fox studios, we see all these people going and checking into hotels, or at least what it looks like, with the suitcases and stuff. They're bundled in up in, like, it looks like 3 sweatshirts, because they don't have a proper jacket. You're going to need that. All right, let's talk about what's coming up.
We got a lot of things going on. We got, listen, 2 of my favorite people on the planet, Kenzie and Roman. Love these guys. I can hear them say yes from the other side. Hey!
Yes.
I can hear them say yes from the other side of the wall. I love them. I love being their cheerleader, because they're also the biggest cheerleader for myself and everybody else who works in media in this city. They're just great champions of other people, so I love to be champions of them. And they're going to join us to talk about a slew of different things, from Sinners dominating the Oscars yesterday, which we talked about, to I mean, a lot of other things going on. It's
some of that drama that's going on with David Beckham and his kids.
Because Lord knows that I need to feel bad for a billionaire's son.
Yeah, that is true.
I really want to sympathize.
That time of the week.
Yeah. Exactly right. And then also there's going to be a new space in Bridgeport that's inviting writers and artists, all kind of creative minds under one roof. And we're going to talk with one of the co-founders to learn more about how you can get involved with that.
But first, we want to talk about something that's really been on the top of the headlines, both here in Chicagoland, of course, and also now in Minneapolis. We're talking about it every morning on Good Day Chicago. We're talking about it, you know, throughout the day, and kind of trying to keep updated on what might be happening, because there's a lot of things.
You've covered it extensively. extensively.
Yes, definitely. So we're talking with former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. She's joining us via Zoom about her new ICE accountability project. Thank you so much for joining us. Lori, can you hear us?
The program is muted.
Oh, our program is muted, she says.
Let's see. We might be able to figure this out behind the scenes.
Let's see a moment. Now can you hear us?
Oh, yes.
All right, that is
Excellent.
a victory. Very
Yes.
good. I saw your interview with, I think it was Paris Schatz not too long ago, talking about this project. I thought it was very interesting. For people at home who weren't able to catch that, what's kind of an update with this ICE accountability project? What does it mean? What do you encourage people to do with it?
Well, I encourage people to go to reporticenow.com. That's reporticenow.com. And our goal here is to create a centralized repository for all the video and audio and still photos of excesses by federal immigration agents here in Chicagoland that really started last September and continue to this day. We want to make sure that all that information is in a centralized location so that local law enforcement, whether it's a prosecutor, local police departments, can hold these ICE agents accountable who are doing things like shooting and killing civilians, shooting otherwise, engaging in excessive force, indiscriminate disbursement of tear gas and other chemical agents. What we're seeing happening in Minnesota will absolutely come back to Chicagoland, and we want to make sure that people have the information, have the ability to document what they're seeing, and it's in one place. And the ability to see over the course of many different incidents what ICE is doing is really quite horrifying. The other thing that we want to do at reporticenow.com is start to build profiles of the agents who are involved in the worst kind of conduct. Even though they've got masks, doesn't mean that their identities will be hidden. So we encourage people, go to reporticenow.com and upload information that you have about incidents that have occurred across Chicagoland.
Lori, I would imagine a question you get a lot is, what would you do if you were mayor right now? I'd imagine everyone at a certain point asks you that question. Is this your answer to that question?
Certainly, it's part of my answer. I'm not an elected official. I'm a private resident. But what I think and hope people are inspired by is that you don't have to be an elected official to do something. You know, our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, encouraged us, do something. This is my do something. This can be our do something. We don't have to stand by while lawlessness reigns within the ranks of the federal immigration agents. Obviously, they have a job to do, but they have to do it within the bounds of the Constitution. They have to respect people's First Amendment rights. They can't engage in excessive force. They cannot do warrantless searches of buildings, houses, or cars. They've got to make sure that they are doing the work that they're doing within the bounds of the law. And if they are not, they need to be held accountable, pure and simple.
Lori, when was this project officially launched, and what has been the response been like? Has there been a lot of submissions, to your surprise?
We launched this officially about 2 weeks ago. The response really has been overwhelmingly positive. We get hundreds of hits over a 24-hour period. We're way past 1,000 hits in the 2 weeks that we've been up and operational. We've had inquiries from Minnesota, not surprisingly, and more recently Maine, since the federal immigration crackdown is happening in Portland. This is something that we built to be scalable, and frankly, we built it to resist being taken down by bots or intimidation by the federal government. This is based on an offshore platform.
You know, Lori, I apologize if you already mentioned it. So you said that this is not just for Chicago and the suburbs. Is it for the whole country?
It's certainly possible for us to take in information from anywhere that's happening in the country. And I've been in conversation with folks in Minnesota, the same thing in Maine. So it's built to be scalable for sure.
Okay, with these submissions, you said you're getting hundreds. What is the process like? Who's going through these submissions and, you know, kind of doing the work to maybe grab the ones that might be more helpful in future cases, maybe?
So great question. We have a couple of different layers of review. Once somebody uploads information, we have a level review that verifies that the incident actually happened and that any attachments are actually connected to that particular incident. Then we have a second level review, which includes myself, other people who are former federal law enforcement, lawyers, investigators, and then we make a determination, having reviewed all the information in total, whether or not we're going to publish that to the public. So there's two-step review process, and if it meets our criteria, it then gets published to so the public can see for themselves what's happening across Chicagoland.
Lori, the governor also created I believe, a commission with the purpose of sort of creating a public record. Are the two, or your project and the governor's project, do they kind of work hand in hand?
I think that we will harmonize very seamlessly. The head of the governor's commission is former Chief Judge Ruben Castillo, somebody that I've known for 30 plus years, worked on projects with back in the day. We have a great relationship. What the governor's commission, I think, is primarily focused on is documenting the trauma and harms that individuals and communities are facing. They held a public hearing not too long ago. They're going to issue an interim report, as I understand it, sometime at the end of this month. But they are very focused on the human toll. We are focused on making sure that we are cataloging and transparently displaying the information that victims of the federal immigration Operation Midway Blitz have done across Chicagoland.
For people who might be in a situation where they're able to record an incident or whatever the case may be, what do you want to tell them about how they might need to handle that moment? And also, if they're nervous about submitting anything to go anywhere, are they to feel safe about their ability to be, is it anonymous whenever they
Yes.
So can you talk about that?
So first of all, both great questions. People need to be careful in documenting what happens with these federal immigration agents. They have an absolute right to do so. That's protected under the First Amendment, but they shouldn't put themselves in harm's way. They absolutely should not obstruct the enforcement action that's being taken place. They shouldn't physically put themselves between the agents and the object of the enforcement action. Recording from a comfortable perspective and distance is absolutely important and lawful, but they need to be careful. I'm not encouraging anyone to put themselves in harm's way to record and document what's happening in the surrounding area. The second thing people should know is, while we require an email address for a submission, obviously we don't want to be subject to false submissions. The information as to the identity of the submitter will be kept anonymous. And absent a court order signed by a judge, not an administrative order that ICE and other immigration agents like to use, but a bona fide order signed by a judge, we are not disclosing anything to anyone, period.
Good to know.
Let me make sure I have this right. So, and correct me if I'm wrong. So, you know, you're getting these, you know, submissions, hundreds, hopefully more soon. Your team goes through them, and then you're able to release some of this information to the public. Does that include the ICE agent's identity? And if so, do you see any trouble with releasing that information?
The only time that we would ever, pardon me, release an ICE agent's name is if it's already in the public record in a court proceeding. We are not releasing names. We're not releasing addresses. We are not encouraging doxing, and we've specifically discouraged people from taking matters into their own hand. But we are producing information that the ICE agents' actions and operations in the public domain. So we are collecting and publishing information about how they look, what their badge number may be, what their the way in which they wear their clothing, their insignia, and frankly any specific actions that they have taken. But we're not disclosing names unless they've already been disclosed in a court proceeding. So, for example, the agent who shot Miramar Martinez, his name is all over court records, so we've used his name. Otherwise, we're not disclosing that kind of personal identifying information about these agents.
You mentioned getting a positive feedback, a positive reaction so far. I would imagine you also expect a lot of pushback to this idea and to this website. I believe the U.S. Attorney General was not a fan of this. What were some of the pushbacks that maybe you expected, and the answers that I'm sure you had ready to go for some of the maybe the criticisms that you knew were going to come your way?
Yeah, I mean, look, for people who think it's okay for ICE to be doing what they're doing, right? Hauling people out of their cars, breaking windows without a warrant, shooting people who are out in peaceful protesting, dragging people out of their house in their underwear, arresting U.S. citizen, young 17-year-old boy, and hauling him out of Target and causing him physical harm. For those people, our project probably isn't going to be met with great news. But I think the vast majority of Americans watching what's happening in their name, using our tax dollars, most people, overwhelming majority, are appalled by what they're seeing and believe that this immigration crackdown is not what was advertised. We're not getting the worst of the worst. We're not getting the violent, dangerous criminals. We're getting people who are ordinary, living their lives, working hard. That's not what anyone signed up for. Whether you voted for the current administration, you didn't, you're not getting what you thought you were getting. What you're getting is a lawlessness, poorly trained, unsupervised militarization of federal agents against our own residents in this country. It is horrifying in the extreme. So we are overwhelmingly getting positive feedback. Everything that we're doing is within our rights, and First Amendment in particular. There is no legitimate legal challenge to anything that we've done. And you don't have to just take my word for it. We've obviously vetted this 20 ways from Sunday with lawyers, and we're prepared to defend against any challenge that may be brought our way.
You know, I know that we're kind of bouncing back and forth, but this Chicago Now kind of affords us the time to go through a longer interview. I just want to make sure people at home know if they maybe have older videos, you know, when really ICE was you know, a little more prevalent here in the city. Can they still submit those, or do you want people to do the latest and most visual video that they have?
I want people to submit whatever they have, regardless of the time period. That's reporticenow.com. We want people to upload video, whether it happened in September, October, November, or to the present day. Please help us create this repository. And let me also just focus on this point. Why do we need a centralized repository? Because right now, all this evidence exists on someone's iPhone, in someone's social media feed. It can disappear easily. We want to make sure it doesn't disappear, that there's a lasting archive of what's happened to people here in Chicagoland and presumably across the country. So it's really important, if you've got historical documentation of what's happened here in Chicagoland since September of 2025, bring it our way. ReportIceNow.com.
All right, former Mayor Lori Lightfoot, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate your time. We appreciate you sitting down with us for, you know, a good slot just to break it all down for our audience.
I appreciate it. Stay warm today, everybody.
Yeah, you too. You too.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Chicago Now. We'll be right back.
I was driving down the road.
11:21. This is Chicago Now. You heard that term relationship goals?
Yes.
No.
No. Matching fits? Come on.
I mean, look at
You guys are in matching fits.
Yeah, but we're not in a relationship.
Right.
We're different shades.
Yeah, different shades.
Yeah, but it still looks good, you know?
Thank you.
I will say that, you know, Kenzie's so fashionable that I kind of have to match her. Otherwise, I get the comments on social media like, well, what's he wearing? It's like, I kind of have to match her to, like...
I got bullied into it. People would be like, that's what you wore?
Right.
And I'm like, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Wait, so were you born like this, Roman, where you just had great style? Or
No.
Did you train him?
She is really... If you look at my old pictures at B96, and I'm meeting like some of the biggest celebrities in the world, I look stupid. You know? I'm wearing like a Cubs t-shirt and jeans, you know?
He wore these camo... Listen, I threw a lot of stuff away when he was at work, but he used to wear these camo, like, capris.
They were not capris, they're shorts, camo
shorts. And they were horrible. And it looks like he met every celebrity the same day. It looks like he had the best day of his life because he never wore a
What did you wear on your first date?
Oh, my God. Well, actually, our first date wasn't really a date, so I don't even...
It was at the Cubs game.
He wore a pea coat.
No,
a pea coat. And
Okay.
I was like, you're like a little Mr. Fancy.
Okay, that's cool. All right.
I stepped it up.
Pea coats are awesome.
Yeah, I stepped it up for sure.
It was.
But our first official, like, us being together was at a Cubs game where I was in my element. A Cubs jersey, jeans.
And you look good. Very smart.
Sure. Yeah.
I liked it.
You know what? We've missed you guys. You guys are, you know, radio personalities here in the city. We've had you on so many times. It's just been like a little stint, you know, with the holidays and all that going on. So I'm so glad you're coming because Jake and I actually earlier this week, we've been talking about this Brooklyn Beckham drama going on. And I was trying to explain it, but like I was not really that well versed, well briefed.
Can I express my frustration?
Yes. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Because listen, I had to be educated a little bit about this.
Same.
The way I don't care about a billionaire's son,
right,
and his life problems, like I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Like your wedding didn't go the way you want. Like you've got $1 billion. Go have another one.
You guys are split where we're split because she's all into this, and I was kind of like, what is it again?
Well,
who freaking who? Your life's not going great. Your dad's David Beckham. Your brother's like, oh, I'm so sorry that your life's not going.
I always say my biggest problem with nepo babies is I am not one, and none of them are doing it correctly. They don't understand how to do it. But I will say when I did dig into it, I was a little like, that's kind of messed up. Okay, like I was giving them a little. This wasn't just it. Sometimes
so what is it?
That's in-law drama.
But it's like being gifted a Ferrari and complaining that it doesn't have cup holders.
So okay, you want to?
Sorry, like.
But I feel like you should still like be respected, right? Especially as like a growing adult.
Listen, give me $1 billion and you can disrespect me.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to checkmate you.
Okay.
Here's the problem. This all started. So they actually got married in 2022. In a sense, it's old news. Okay. But the reason there's a couple reasons this is coming back up. But right before the wedding, Victoria and David were trying to get their son to sign away his naming rights, aka you can't make money off the name Beckham anymore. And they were essentially, allegedly, this is because they don't like his wife Nicola. So they're trying to get to her before she was a Beckham, so his entire new growing family could never profit off of being Beckhams. So you want to talk about cash the check? Well, the check was going to be gone, and that was a big problem.
Was he actually going to have to work for a living? I'm so sorry.
Look, I'm putting up my hand. I have a question.
Yes.
Are they asking the same of their other kids? Obviously not. What's the big problem with this chick?
So they have a problem with her, alleged. Obviously, nobody can sue us. Yeah. But apparently they just don't like her. They try to sabotage the relationship multiple times. They try to bring his ex's back around even after they were engaged to get him to go with one of those. Who knows? Maybe it's woman drama. We're not exactly sure.
How does every family have a reality show, but we're not seeing this on camera?
Well, because
sign a deal with Netflix. I mean, if you're gonna do all this stuff, do it on camera.
Because they are big on how they look. They do have a deal with Netflix. They put out shows, but they're very, as you probably are aware, they're very part of production of those shows, of how those come out and how they're curated.
Sure.
They're not signing up for a reality show that they're not absolutely orchestrating. So he accused them of ruining her wedding dress. Victoria pulled out of supplying the wedding dress right before the wedding. She ruined their first dance by twerking on her son and changing the song. That's weird. That's a weird boy mom thing to do.
Yeah,
I have two sons, not twerking on each other's weddings.
Don't love that.
No. Odd choices. Obviously the naming rights, and then this all got brought back up they hadn't talked to him in years. And David Beckham had his 50th birthday party in London in May. And this is why this is circulating again. So they didn't attend. And Brooklyn says it's because they made it very clear his wife wasn't welcome to attend the party, which is a really creepy thing to do. And he said that he was only invited because they want the photo op to look like a happy family. So they actually renewed their vows this past August because they said they wanted a wedding that wasn't awful. So his parents didn't come and they renewed their vows.
So they did
I know we've been sort of joking about using the word alleged, it's all everything, but like, have there been any, because all these stories I heard the thing about the dance, I heard the thing about the wedding dress, I heard all that.
Yes.
Do we know that that's true?
That's my point.
That's what he said today.
We got in a heated discussion in the car because she was briefing me on this stuff. I don't really know this story as well as she does, okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, that's their side of the story.
Exactly.
We don't know if that's true. Hey, one of my favorite slogans in the world is there's 3 sides to every story. His side, her side, and the truth.
Yep.
And people embellish, people do, so like this is, it's kind of like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle kind of thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's the same kind of thing where I'm like, okay, fine, this is his story, but like we don't know that's fact at all. And she got so mad at me. She's like, well,
No, first of all, I got mad at you because I gave a really nice detailed thing, and the first time, and your first response is like, maybe none of it happened.
Well,
I'm like,
thank you.
Like,
You're
so
discrediting
boring.
her work.
But she doesn't know him.
How about like, wow, I'm impressed.
I like
this
this
layout.
yeah.
Yes. But David Beckham's the only one who's, in a way, spoken out about it, and he just made the comment that kids make mistakes and you have to let them make mistakes, and which is a little bit backhanded as a grown man to hear your dad go on TV and go,
Yeah, he's
kids
26,
make mistakes.
isn't he?
He's a grown married man and they're trying to have kids. It's like it was
But I think like aren't your kids always going to be like, you're like one day like your boys will be 30 years old, they're still going to be kids.
So right. And also you at 26, I would probably do things a little differently than I do right now. So you are still kind of you're learning. You know. So David Beckham, I think it was a very small comment, but it spoke volumes because it's like he believes that his son's making a gigantic mistake. Right. And what's the mistake? Probably the wife, is what I think.
But also what he's not doing, he's not going out in public. He's not trashing. He's still like he is being trashed by his son.
Yes.
Blasted.
Like and the fact that they are keeping their mouths shut, I think. But to your point, they're controlling everything, but they could easily come out and say, no, that's not true. Actually, it's X, Y, and Z. I feel like the fact that they're not saying anything is making me go.
And that was my point, because in Brooklyn's post, he said that his parents were so obsessed with fame and money and their status and how they look. So I'm like, well, will they then? If they are that obsessed, will they, publish something that's kind of like a snapback to it to prove that they're
taking the high road. They're taking the high road.
The response is it gives anything credibility, and I think that they view it like that. Like if you think something's like so beneath that you don't respond, nobody can pick it apart. If they responded, we're going to pick it apart. Right now, we have no information, right? So if you say something high road, they're trying to be pretentious. You say like a little dig. Oh, see, they are mean to the wife. Like no matter what you say, everyone will try to analyze.
Yeah, it's a thankless. I gotta be honest with you. I'd never heard of this kid until all of this.
Same.
I didn't know. Like I knew who David was. I knew who Victoria was. I didn't know who this kid was.
Yeah.
But looking into it, I saw that there for a while he tried to be a chef. Like he tried to. He went on one of the morning shows, and so they bankrolled him trying to be a chef. Then he wanted to be like a photographer. So they bankrolled him trying to be a photographer.
Identity crisis.
And again, this is coming from the perspective of a kid. Like my parents, they worked hard to give me something, but not so that I had something, but to be able to keep working hard.
Yeah. Right.
It kind of just feels like a spoiled kid that's being told no for the first time in his life.
Yeah, and I mean,
and there could be potential behind that. It could be.
Him going public. I mean, listen, I know family dynamics are crazy. Some of them are crazy, but like to go out there and really bash your parents.
Yes.
Like listen, even if you don't agree with your mom or your dad in certain ways, but they're celebrities and they've given you everything in the world. To go out there and publicly smash their reputation, you lose credibility to me, because like they're still your parents.
Yeah, you gotta.
And there's a respect. Listen, I was taught. I'm old school. I was taught to respect elders and your parents, and this kid is not doing that over what? His mom allegedly like making a weird dance. I mean, the things aren't. It's not abuse. It's not like nothing's really serious. But I don't like the way you're trashing your parents.
And also, if he was disrespected, if his wife was being disrespected to that level, though, there is something about you are now the man of this family, and you need to make sure, no matter who's disrespecting your wife. Now, that's if it's true. Right? If it's not true. But if what he's saying is true, and making sure like your wife can't have that last name, and making the comment that she's not family when it's your wife, those are horrible things. So
keep it in the family.
And that's where I say, like, okay, listen, I'm very lucky to have a very solid, great relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
But if there were a problem, something similar, do you know who would never know about it?
The Fox audience. Exactly.
You wouldn't come on here?
I would not.
You don't air out your
not the place.
You don't air out your dirty laundry.
No.
You know, there's a respect that he doesn't have for his parents, and I don't like that part of it all, right? So like that, yeah. I mean, I would fine. Parents can fight with their kids, but like you don't need to go on Instagram or wherever you want and do a whole broadcast about it. Like that's
because then I'm a big believer that like people never talk about the planes that land safely, right? And if you are only telling people about whether it be your fights with your significant other or your fights with your family, if that's the only time you ever talk about them to people, their perception is going to be that's 100% of your relationship.
Right.
Totally.
So if you're not coming out and talking about the great things that your significant other or your family's doing for you, and you don't have the right to go out and talk about the negative things.
Well, and the only excuse is that he's not willing to be with them, around them anymore. He's like, no contact. So he doesn't really care if people hate the relationship.
Sure.
He's like, I'm never talking to you.
Is her family, does her family come from money?
Do we know
she's
anything?
a model. She's a model.
Okay.
So, and that's how he met her, was at Nevada.
I feel like maybe I saw something that like mentioned how they didn't like the family or something. That again, allegedly.
Rich on rich.
It's all allegedly.
All this rich on rich crime, right?
I just want to be there the first day something shows up in the mail and he looks at it and it's called a bill.
Oh yeah.
How he's going to have to pay that.
I think what we need is like someone that's close to them to spill the beans anonymously, and then we get all the team. We actually know what's happening.
There you go.
Somewhat.
Because until then, we don't know for a fact what is true and what is not true.
I understand. But this is what I have for you.
What's on the card?
You did a great job, babe. You did a great job.
Let's switch gears here and talk about Sinners.
Yes.
You know, we know that broke records yesterday. Jake was telling us about it. You watched it.
Yes.
I
For
have
the
not
first time?
watched it.
You know what? I finally watched it for the first time. So having a child that's under 2, I have not gotten to watch the.
You're telling me I was saying you didn't see that really bloody R-rated vampire movie?
And I literally texted him. I was like, "Can you watch the baby one day so I can see Sinners?" And I'm still not mapping out. But I was obsessed with this movie. It took me 4 days to watch it because I got to watch it in increments while I worked
Just
out.
the way the director intended.
Yes.
Exactly right.
I really get to
Ryan
sit with
Coogler
the
is crying
information.
somewhere right now.
But I only get to watch stuff when I work out.
Sure.
So I do workouts and then I pull it up. So I'm like, yes. The
So
second
you
it hits
wait. You watched it on your phone in chunks.
No, I do have a TV.
We have a TV. We have a TV in the studio.
Okay.
So there's a
But in
studio.
chunks and like maybe a little bit of muffled audio.
But here's where it gets funny. She watches things in that room that are like inappropriate, because I've walked into that room many times and it's like, what are you watching? And it's like I see like this medieval porn stuff. What are you watching there?
Bridgerton.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Whenever I walk,
Gloria, I'm like, can you just like?
And of course, he's only going to walk in at that part.
That's actually so true, because I'm listening to my audiobooks. There's nothing like dirty that ever comes up. As soon as my husband walks in the room, he starts going crazy.
What audiobooks are you listening to?
I swear it's like.
See, look at the judgment oozing out of them
I know,
already.
right? No, it's like historical fiction. I don't know where it goes.
I know when I walk in and she presses pause immediately.
Because you're gonna start talking over it.
No.
Isn't that like, okay, didn't we grow up with that? You know, you're watching a movie and your parents only walk in during the sex scene.
It's true.
That's always how it happens.
Can I have something? I'm watching Michael B. Jordan play twins.
Who Michael B. Jordan?
Leave me alone.
That's what I was going to say. Michael B. Jordan is one of her celebrity crushes.
Sure.
So she didn't want to watch that in front of us. No. She watched it in
private. Can I just have my time? Like, I just have my time with him.
Okay, we can't let you guys go yet.
Okay.
We have to take a quick 2-minute break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more.
Because I got to hear more about this.
Grab my harness, the one that makes my butt look good.
Welcome back, 11:37. This is Chicago Now. We're back with Kenzie and Roman.
Costume change.
I know this is
You know that you have good guests on the show when the commercial breaks are entertaining. Listen. I got a Bears really nice bomber jacket last week that I kept wearing on the air, and throughout the week, everyone on the show would basically ask me for that jacket. I was like, you're not getting the jacket.
Right.
How many people are coming? Because I'm looking at that going, I really want that jacket.
I love this.
So I worked for the Bulls for 5 seasons. I was the entertainment host. And
As a host, not a player. I'll just clarify.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that. You know, just let there be some mystery.
I was the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls. No, but I was the entertainment host for 5 seasons, and so my wardrobe got a lot of cool Bull stuff, including this jacket. And my beautiful wife made me these all-star
beautiful
custom sneakers when I hosted the All-Star game as well. So
love that.
I have to break those out today too, in honor of Derrick Rose. Obviously, we're here.
Love that.
Let's talk more about it. That's ceremony that's going to be happening.
Yeah, so tomorrow, Derrick Rose will be the 5th Chicago Bull to have his jersey retired, okay?
Wow.
You have Jerry Sloan, Bob Love, obviously Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and now Derrick Rose. And so it's really, really cool because Derrick Rose meant so much to this city, this organization. So tomorrow he will have his jersey officially retired after the Bulls-Celtics game. It'll be after the game in a nice little ceremony. And I mean, it'll be star-studded because, again, D. Rose meant everything to this organization. And I still really believe that had he not get injured, the Bulls would have had another championship that year because that team was the team that could have beaten LeBron.
Yep.
But the injury felt all around Chicago. It broke our hearts, and we'll never know what could have been when it comes to Derrick Rose, but still meant a lot to the organization.
Still love him.
Yes, for sure.
That's going to be so
I mean, there is such I mean, I feel like he is one of those players that when you bring up, it's not like a mixed conversation. It's just almost, it's what, 100% love. It's not, I mean, you bring up D. Rose, and there's almost this like, like you have like people, there's an affinity there. I love that.
There is, and he really does a lot for Chicago. All right, speaking of, so you're wondering why we have a giant pizza. That's a deep dish pizza. Well, I'll tell you why, because we actually got the special delivery from Giordano's.
Yeah.
They're honoring Derrick Rose with this limited edition MV pizza. Isn't that a cute name?
Oh, that's cool.
That's actually
I love it.
adorable.
Someone in their marketing department did a great job.
So you're wondering what's inside. Well, let me tell you. Okay, this is stuffed deep dish pizza, as you can see, traditional thin crust and tavern style. Oh, so it comes in all 3. But it's Giordano's signature pepperoni finished with drizzle of homemade Calabrian hot honey. Is that how you say it?
I would say it with confidence.
Hot honey.
Hot honey,
Calabrian.
Yes.
Hot honey.
This is actually, it's like, for real, my kind of party. The pizza will be offered January 6th through February 10th for dine-in, carry-out, or delivery at any of the Giordano's Chicago area locations. Also, Giordano's will donate $1 from every MVP,
MV Pizza.
Yeah, there you go.
MV Pizza, guys. What the heck? Sold to Etiquette Series, Derrick Rose's charity.
Oh, that's cool.
Really awesome. I love that.
Unfortunately, it's not cut. So Kenzie and I are going to cut it at the break and probably have a little bit.
We had to, show it in its glory.
I mean, it does. That's the
Could
thing.
you imagine if I had taken this part out? It wouldn't have looked as good.
And for the record, I saw multiple boxes over there, so we are going to eat some, just so you know.
Yeah, that's full of pizza.
Yeah, we're eating.
No way.
Yes.
You don't say that on the show.
Oh.
Everyone's watching because everyone down in the newsroom.
Oh, no, yeah. This is the only one.
Oh, no, the bag's empty. Oh, man.
Already ate it.
And I'm going to sneeze on it just to make sure nobody else can have it.
Okay, speaking of Derrick Rose, let's talk about also like other celebrities that are here in Chicago.
Yes.
The top 5.
Top 5?
We do. We have a top 5.
All right, I'm going to write down ones that I think because I want to hear mine compared to. But yeah, I want you guys to go first.
And this took a little bit. This wasn't just favorites. So we kind of compiled them with the actual net worth. So you can't argue whether you like them or
Yes.
So we did like a net worth / cultural impact.
Yes.
And we thought about this.
We did.
So we're getting a divorce later.
The biggest fight was, now if we're just judging like talent and cultural impact, I thought R. Kelly should have been on the list. Obviously not a good guy. She says no, so he's not on the list because of Kenzie.
I'm like, we're not doing. I make a stand.
So
I think we're thinking.
all right. So should we go 5 to 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do 5 to 1.
So our number 5, coincidentally, is Derrick Rose.
Cool.
Love it. Okay.
Heart and soul of the city, Chicago Bull legend. Only the 5th Bull to have his jersey retired as of tomorrow night. So he's number 5 for us, right?
Yes, and then do the estimated. We have the estimated, because we have to say that because we didn't get to calculate it ourselves. Net worth for all.
$100 million is what he's worth, apparently.
And imagine if he could have played longer.
I know.
That's impressive. Pretty good.
Number 4, a fellow basketball player, Anthony Davis. Okay. He, Chicago boy, Lakers for a long time. He's currently with the Mavericks. His estimated worth is 160 to 180 million. He played longer and probably more healthy than D Rose, so he made a lot more money in the basketball world. But again, Chicago boy, we're very proud of him.
He actually does awesome charity work around Chicago. Well.
Love that.
Events. He's awesome.
Okay, so number 3, he's got to be on your list, I would think. Harrison Ford.
That's the first one I wrote down.
Harrison Ford. I didn't even know he was born in Chicago.
Yeah.
So he was obviously Star Wars, Indiana Jones. I mean, so he is worth about $300 million. So Harrison Ford is
Not a bad day.
No.
Number 2, controversial guy, but you can't deny his cultural impact, Kanye West.
Sure.
All right. He was at one point over $1 billion.
1.8 billion before the Adidas collab dropped.
Yeah. So between hip hop, rapping, production, and then fashion, he is our number 2. Any guesses of our number 1 before we say it?
I would have thought.
Around
Is it an actor?
Chicagoland.
He's in the Hollywood entertainment space.
He's in entertainment.
Okay.
Did you say, like, is he an actor, or are they an actor? Is it a female?
Okay, so the one thing we kind of thought about in the car too is she really wanted a female on this list.
Sure.
I know.
Who are some of the ones you want on the list?
So honorable mention, Jennifer Hudson.
Sure.
Yeah, coming in
EGOT
at
winner.
70 million.
Yeah.
I mean, initially I thought Oprah, but she's not born here. She's from Mississippi.
That's true.
So I had to
Yeah.
auto-correct myself on that one. Robin Williams is from Chicago, which I did not realize.
Yeah.
So he was born. Did you know that? You're making it. I can't believe you didn't.
Interesting.
I was looking it up. I was shocked by that, and I double checked.
And the internet never lies, for the record.
Yeah.
So it
has to be a fact.
All right. So our number 1, I think you can't even debate this, is Walt Disney. Walt Disney was born here.
Created his house is not too far.
Empire. I mean, it's worth the Disney itself about $200 billion, and he was born and raised, or born here in Chicago, which is pretty cool. So we have a little piece of the mouse, right?
Yeah, piece of the mouse, baby.
Listen, I would take a very small. I'd be happy with
like,
that.
Like 0.0001%. Who other honorable mentions on the list?
So I would say with Robin Williams, the Belushi brothers.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Honestly, Bill Murray was the one I thought was going to be.
Cusacks, both of them. So there, I mean, it is a long list, but you do get tripped up because, like, Michael Jordan, not from
Chicago.
From here.
Right.
So your initial thoughts for some of those people aren't, you know, they came to this to make their wealth.
Pretty impressive, though. Walt Disney, Kanye West, Harrison Ford, Anthony Davis, Derrick Rose. I mean, it's a pretty good top 5.
But you know what I love is that, you know, and you guys have always interviewed a lot of celebrities as well. Everyone has a Chicago story.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. Whatever celebrity you interview, honestly, everyone's got a movie they shot here, or that trip that they took here that one time, or their favorite memory of seeing, you know, the Jordan years.
Yes.
Whenever, you know, you sit down with anybody and you go, oh yeah, you know, I'm from Chicago, you can just see they light up and they're like, oh. Chicago. Like,
it's one of the most beloved cities in the world. I've traveled the world with my music career back in the day, and whenever I said from Chicago, people lit up. They loved it, you know? And I think Michael Jordan and Oprah had a lot to do with that. They really put on the worldwide map, you know? But there's a lot of Chicago pride, and people love it. I mean, I'm a Chicago homer, a self-admitted Chicago homer. Love this city, and, you know, I'm never moving,
Let's get you on that list. Paycheck, baby.
That gives me the chills a little bit. You're so right. I mean, that is so true. People do light up, you know, when you say that you're living in Chicago or from Chicago. For people who are interested in more of your content, you guys are so active on social media.
Yes.
Such fun stuff. Where
they follow me. Do they follow you?
And
we do.
We do.
We love both of you guys, for real. We really do.
But where can people find you guys online? And also, obviously, your radio personalities.
Yeah. So the social media is at Kenzie and Roman on all platforms. And then my girl is on.
I am on Q101s in the morning, so you can hear me from 6 to 10 a.m. And then I run over here and do this show.
Yes. All right, guys.
I love it.
We love you guys.
We love you guys, and we love pizza as well. So can we please chow?
This one singular pizza that they brought.
Yeah, just
one singular pizza.
It's cold. I guess we'll take care of it for everyone. Okay, we'll have much more Chicago Now right after this break.
I got hurt in a car accident and some pushy
All right, welcome back to Chicago Now. We have two other stars that are sitting next to us. Mouse Arts and Letters Club is a new social club in Bridgeport that's bringing writers, really creatives together under one roof. We're learning about it more this morning with co-founders Morley and Blair. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, let's talk about this club. It seems like sometimes clubs seem like kind of something of the past,
This
right?
is the only type of club you would ever see me at.
About,
Because
like,
the other type of club I would never show up to.
I feel like sometimes grandparents talk about like clubs that they're in their community and such. I know that that's not this, but it's more of like being able to express your artistic abilities or, you know, people are interested in that. Tell us about this. You know, what do you guys all do?
I'm a freelance writer and reporter, and the club is kind of like your grandparents' social club, except that the programming is focused on super participatory events for the public to learn about local and international journalism, local and international film, poetry, literature, architecture, just things that we find interesting and that help people kind of learn more about the city and the world.
I love it.
So is this is bringing people together to work together in a way. It's not like someone comes in and kind of works individually. Like these are people who are going to sort of kind of learn from each other in a way.
Yeah, one event that we've had going on for the past year, it's called News Night. So we bring in a group of journalists together, and usually about 3 journalists, and they'll each talk about a single story they're working on. And instead of, you know, going on into a lecture or a panel, we'll flip the switch and they go into audience questions immediately. So it's a lot more discussion and conversational way to learn about news. And I think we kind of move forward with that sort of idea in programming. So it's kind of just all learning together.
How long have you guys been doing this Mouse Arts and Letters Club, and what has the participation been like? You know, has it really caught on right away, or has the group slowly kind of gotten bigger as you guys continue with your things like the news nights?
Yeah, I mean, the news nights have gone on for a year.
Yeah, and we've had a pretty great turnout. I feel like the first one we had maybe 40 folks come out, packed into a little gallery on the north side. Yeah, people are really eager to learn about local news.
But our opening, we probably had, you know, more than 100 people in for news night. And over the year of running that event, and I run similarly structured events for translators, we've amassed, you know, a good group of a few hundred people who are already used to working together on all sorts of stuff.
I did see that. What is that translator event that you have?
So all it is we bring together translators from, at this point we have about 30 languages represented, who will read works of poetry or short stories or sometimes songs or newspaper articles. And we all sit together in a room in a circle, and they'll read it first in the original language so you can kind of hear what it would sound like, and then their English translation. And so it's a great way to learn about other countries, other artistic traditions, and that's in Chicago, New York, and DC.
Wow.
I would imagine when you bring together groups of creative people, or people, you know, who are doing this kind of work, that when they start talking to each other, you find yourself maybe even amazed at some of the things that come from it. You know, you get that many creative people together in a room, there's going to be magic that happens. Have you been surprised at maybe some of the things that have come from the fact that you guys have given people this space?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the news night we had last week for opening night. We had a reporter from Injustice Watch talking about a story she worked on about this forensic lab at UIC and sort of some junk science coming out of there. And we had public defenders in the audience who were familiar with people she was referencing, who had, you know, seen evidence from this lab in DUI court, in traffic court. So I think getting into the nitty-gritty with folks of people who are actually impacted and deal with that reporting firsthand has been really exciting to see, and people sort of learn from each other in that sort of way.
And it can definitely make it feel like more of a community, right?
Sure.
It's such a big city, but you know, then you make these connections that you never knew existed with a bunch of different people coming from different parts of the city in one spot. So you said you're opening, because now you have a spot in an actual location in Bridgeport, correct? Can you tell us about that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's in an old bank.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's on 31st Street, a few blocks east of Halsted, 555 West 31st Street. And it's kind of a perfect space. So we have a co-working area where the tellers used to sit. So everybody's, sitting behind these bulletproof windows. And then we have a huge event space in the back where we do news and translation nights. And then in the old vault, we've outfitted it with a bunch of comfortable pillows and couches and books. So our members and the public can come, and if they want to read after work, we've got this really beautiful, cozy nook for them to hang out in.
Can you just talk about, just logistically how it works? Is it a matter of looking at your schedule and reserving a spot? Does someone have to pay to, is it a ticketed event? Can you just sort of break down what someone would have to do in order to participate?
Like a membership, correct?
Yeah, we have a membership system for the co-working.
Okay.
So that's $45 a month, but we do sliding scale for folks that would like to do that. And then all of our events are free and open to the public, unless so just a donation if we have a speaker coming in from out of town or something.
What do you guys see for the future of the club? What are you trying to maybe incorporate? Is it more kind of event series nights?
So yeah, we have a ton of events coming up. And I think those are a great opportunity for people to connect with each other. But I think we're also rolling out working groups on a bunch of different things. So that people are not only coming in as sort of audience members, admittedly in events that are very participatory, but actually making stuff together. So we're going to roll out a night for people to edit their films together,
wow, that's
a
cool.
night for people to come write together. We have language learning nights, so Spanish and Arabic practice nights. We'll have community dinners. So, in the sense, a lot of old school social clubs are how people made friends, how they got married, whatever, and I think we aspire to have that kind of integral role in people's lives of really helping them connect and feel rooted in the city.
I got to say, in this day and age, any place that gives me something that encourages me to take this and put it down, I feel like is a plus. And it sounds like this is the kind of place that, if only for an hour,
yeah,
you don't look at this for a second and look at somebody in the eyes and have a conversation and exchange thoughts. And to your point, go back to the way people used to communicate with each other.
Totally.
Right. I mean, there used to be thousands of these little clubs, and you still see remnants of them all over the city. But instead of this one being rooted in a particular ethnicity, okay, this is for Irish people, this is Italians or Czech or whatever. This is for anyone who's just curious, I would say, and
We don't have much time, guys. Mouse Arts and Letters Club. Where did that come from? That name. It's cute.
Yeah. I mean, the magazine?
The name comes from a long-standing collective of writers and artists who contribute to a magazine that we all run together called Mouse. And so we have sort of a house publication.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, for people at home who want more information, where can they find more information about the club?
mouseartsandletters.org.
Okay, awesome.
Love that. Congratulations, guys. And thank you for
Blair,
bringing this to the city. This is something, it's such a nice flashback to so many things. I feel like we have probably members of our audience that remember places like this, and for someone who's never been to something like this, bring them in.
We have a lot of young people at home. Maybe their teachers, maybe their grandparents. You could tell their young adult
what it used to be like.
What it used to be like, and encourage them to go to somewhere like this. Very cool, Blair Morley. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us on this really cold Friday. We got through the week, people. We'll see you next week. Have a good day.
The Menards bag sale is here.